Lunch with Carol Dixon is all about life and how to live that life positively, productively, and prayerfully. After decades of ministry, Dr. Dixon is qualified to address any topic of life from a biblical perspective. Let's listen now as Dr. Dixon comes forth.
Well, bless the Lord. Oh, I'm so happy to be with you. This is a time that you shouldn't be down. Be up. Yes, be excited. This is an adventurous time. This is a time for us to really stand up and be counted as to being a follower of Christ. And I like to say that because at this season and at this time, I want to particularly just share with you about the fact that you need to keep Christ amidst all the chaos and the uncertainty. We need to stay focused on the truth that God controls the universe, and whatever the future holds, we can be certain He holds us in His hands. Oh yes, Colossians 3:2, that's my final authority, the word. Let heaven fill your thoughts. Don't spend your time worrying about things down here. Oh, that's the Living Bible. See, when you think about your life in light of eternity, it puts everything in perspective. It's important for you to focus on your hearts and your minds in the story of Jesus, which is why, I just love to think about the fact that Christ was born to save the whole world. It enables me to start forgiving. It enables me to live like I'm living for an audience of one, God the Father. It enables me to live with the mind of Christ. Oh yeah, when you stay focused, you'll live with the mind of Christ. And when you do that, you'll realize that you're never alone. So there's no depression that Satan can send or bring upon you. This is the time for you to know, this is an adventurous and wonderful hour for you because you have the mind of Christ. You're never alone. Depression, stress, it's got to go. John 16:32 says, I am not really alone because the Father is with me. When you have the mind of Christ, it means you're always being aware that God is with you every day. You see this in the life of Jesus. Jesus lived in the presence of God. He stayed connected to the favor of God. No matter how busy he was, he stayed in tune with the Father. Jesus said in John 16:32, I am not really alone because the Father is with me. That's why the greatest antidote to loneliness is thinking of just like Jesus did. When you have the mind of Christ, you'll be able, just like Jesus, just like Christ, to say, I am not alone because I know the Father is always with me. Oh, that's so comforting. When you feel alone, it's often the result of not living with the mind of Christ. You're not aware of God's constant care. But how can you always stay aware of God's constant care in the midst of all that's going on, especially in today's time? Well, one way is through prayer. Jesus made prayer a daily habit. Yeah, Luke 5:16 says Jesus would often go to some place where he could be alone and pray. See, Jesus would slip away so he could pray. You can't just do that every now and then if you want to have the mind of Christ. Jesus' prayer life was continual. He made it priority. This was a priority in his life, to be with his Father. It was a habit. Do you stop and pray throughout the day? Do you think your day would go better if you developed this habit? If Jesus felt the need to slip away and pray throughout his day, then think about how much more we need it. Yeah, when you don't take the time to talk with God, that's what prayer is. You're simply talking with God. You miss the gifts of God. It's not God's will for you to be too busy for him. In fact, you'll get more done in every area of your life if you take the time to stop and pray. Now, that doesn't mean like it should be like work for you, because it's not. You see, when you stop to pray, you'll find yourself getting more done. You're going to have a greater focus, and thereby, you know what? It just takes all the stress and strain out. No work. It's just a choice to do. You'll be able to focus your mind and heart on what matters most because you're taking time to let God's Spirit remind you through prayer what your purpose is. Jesus Christ knew who he was and what his purpose was. He was always aware of God's presence. And when you get the mind of Christ, you'll have those things too. You'll always be aware of God's presence in your life. Get the mind of Christ. And you'll know during this season, like any other season, you'll never feel alone. I am Carol Dixon, and this is Dash.
We know you have been inspired. Your faith has been built, giving you a new perspective. Tell someone about Dash with Carol Dixon podcast. Someone you know needs to tune in. We're always on 24/7. Spread the word, won't you? We're helping you and many others with a positive, productive, and prayerful word. Thank you for joining us today. Take a moment now to leave a rating, review, and subscribe to our podcast app. On behalf of the entire team, thanks for listening to Dash with Carol Dixon.